How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. Shit's about to get real. In the form of Jackie O's Brewing, it's their double barrel black maple. This is a Imperial maple porter, Asian bourbon barrels, then aged in cinnamon vanilla whiskey barrels. Say what? Jackie O's. I fucking love Jackie O's, man. I have for quite a long time. It's actually one of the first breweries to actually send me beer. They haven't sent me stuff in a billion years, but they sent me beer a while ago. And it was one of my favorite beer mails I ever got because they basically took if it fits its ships box from UPS and like opened it through like the most minimal amount of bubble wrap ever. Just kind of tossed in one 8x11 sheet and threw in 3 bottles and packed it up and shipped it in the mail. Like, there's no reason why it should have gotten to me in one piece, but they sent all these kind of bottles, which is their super heavy duty. Jackie O's uses these. Lost Abbey uses these. It's those big, huge, thick bottles. But, Jackie O's is one of my favorite breweries. In general, more specifically on the barrel aging end, I personally think they have one of the best barrel aging programs in the country. Period. There's no if in Ohio, in the Northeast, in the country. Their barrel age program is absolutely fantastic. And it's always been a treat to get their beers out here, especially in now I live in Jersey. I used to be in Pennsylvania on the eastern side, not close to Ohio. But they just started popping up locally on shelves. And some of their barrel aged stuff, Skipping Stone, Aphrodite, stuff like that. So that's super exciting to see that happening. But this one actually comes courtesy of my buddy Jerry. I talked about this in a previous review. He belonged to a fantasy football league that this guy belonged to, and I won that shit. And it was a beer league. Everybody had to put up $50 worth of beer, and this is one of the ones I got off Jerry. So thank you very much, brother. And side note too, when I post this, I didn't know this, but I guess I forget who was telling me this. It was a viewer. He wrote me on Instagram saying that the barrel program director for Jackie O's is leaving. So he actually wanted me to make a video about Jackie O's and what I think will happen with Jackie O's in their barrel program, and what I think will happen is nothing. I think their barrel aging program is so ingrained and so deep that nothing will happen with it. It was actually started by a local guy to me, a guy I lived in Wilkes-Barre, a local guy, Terry Hawbacher. He's a brewer at Pizza Boy now, and his own little brewery down there. And he actually helped start the barrel aging program back in the day. So they've been through a couple of iterations of people, and their barrel aging program is so deep that I don't think, even if it went a little bit sideways, you wouldn't see it for years to come. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. What does it say in this bottle? Long review. You're in for a long one. You know these big, huge barrel-aged beers get long anyway, so I don't want to hear you complaining. Sustainably crafted with purpose, Jackie O's 2018. It's 15% alcohol by volume. So, yeah, a chugger. Let's see on the side here. Story time. We have... Go to burp first. Black Maple is one of our favorite beers to release each year. For the special batch, Black Maple was aged for 8 months in bourbon barrels. The beer was racked out of bourbon barrels into cinnamon vanilla whiskey barrels, where it was aged for an additional 10 months. A bold display of barrel, time, oxidation, and evaporation, lightly carbonated, and intended to be enjoyed at room temperature. Close to room temp. It's probably in right around 60 degrees, so that's about where I like these bigger beers to go. And label-wise, it's awesome. Jackie O's labels pretty much kill it across the board, especially on their barrel-aged stuff. So let's see what the sucker has to offer. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, Jackie O's, I've reviewed them for myself. Like I said, Dave sent me stuff. I've had viewers send me stuff. I've had them in mystery beers before, so I'm very well acquainted with the Jackie O's beers of the world. What do you want? Not a big head on it. That's okay. You're talking about a double barrel aged beer, done and done. You know what I mean? It's basically the darkest, richest, rubiest mahogany hue beer you can imagine, with a nice dollop of brown to it. So she looks like a big, huge, gigantic, monstrous, can barely generate any kind of head kind of beer. Let's get a nose. Oh, man. I thought they weren't allowed to put porn on YouTube. Oh, man, that's so big. It's so rich. Yeah, she has. Listen, the bourbon, the whiskey, and it's coming off more like bourbon to me because it's huge cordial cherry vibes. You're getting a nice kind of rich barrel charred, some semi-sweet baker's chocolate, kind of smoky kind of barrel char on it. Now they're talking about cinnamon, and they're talking about what else? Cinnamon what? I forget what they said on there because I'm not getting in here. I know the cinnamon, cinnamon vanilla. Okay, vanilla. I kind of poo-pooed on that. Not to rewind. I didn't poo on it, but barrel you get soft vanilla from. I got soft vanilla from. I wasn't gonna really talk about it, but there is a cinnamon thing. But it's like a soft the cinnamon the hot balls. What are they called? Why am I skipping on that name? When I was a kid, they got the fireballs. Yeah, fireball whiskey, dumbass. I've never actually had fireball whiskey, but fireballs. When you're a kid, you suck on them. It's basically like hot cinnamon candy. And then if you ever took one out and you're disgusting and you shared it with a girlfriend or something like that, like everybody's done it in their past, you have that residual kind of saliva cinnamon thing going on. That's the way the cinnamon comes off. And it's there, but it's soft and it's barely kind of there, at least in the nose. But yeah, you get that soft baker's chocolate, barrel-aged char thing going on. You get this big cordial cherry component. You do get the vanilla in there. And you get that soft cinnamon. The beer's there. It's not super gigantic in your face. But it's there. So that's one of the things I kind of poo on breweries, especially when you throw a lot of barrels and adjunct at beers, that the beers can get lost. I'm not saying the beer's lost in this, but in the nose, it's a little bit more kind of barrel adjunct leaning than beer itself. So let's just dive in and see what's in there. Cheers. Wow. That beer is hot on multiple levels, and I kind of fucking like it. It's hot, both in its ABV from the beer itself and also the whiskey. It's giving me a burn going down, so there's some heartburn pills in my future. The vanilla is way bigger than I expect based off the nose. It is not just some kind of, I'm getting a little bit of vanilla from the barrel. No, you're getting added vanilla, but you're also getting vanilla from the barrel. So even though it's bigger, it almost comes off like, it's big enough to where it's definitely outside of just getting vanilla from the barrel. It has this kind of sweetness, confectionery sweetness to it. But since you are getting a heaping helping of vanilla from the barrel, your brain tricks yourself into thinking, okay, it's all barrel, which kind of makes you freak out in a good way. The cinnamon's hot too. It gives you a little bit of kind of soft cinnamon burn. You get that combination, again, that kind of fireball effect, where you get that kind of bourbon burn, but you get that cinnamon on top of it to where it gives you that kind of cinnamon burn. But it's all working. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This is insider knowledge shit. There's maple syrup in there. Yeah, there's a whole big helping of maple syrup. I did not mention it on the nose. I did not mention it in taste. It's kind of like what is it? What's that fable or story, The Emperor's New Clothes, where you don't see what's right in front of you? It's kind of that maple syrup thing. You kind of go into it going, okay, there's going to be maple syrup. Am I really going to talk about the maple syrup? Do I need to talk about the maple syrup? Well, I do, because there's a lot of maple syrup beers that don't taste like maple syrup. So fuck this guy. Anyway, so. It's big, it's bold, it's gigantic. It's attacking you in multiple different directions, flavor-wise. And it's hot. Each sip I take, heat, is coming down here, giving you that hotness, both from the cinnamon and booze component. I like it. I do. I like it. I like it, but it lacks that depth and that nuance that you typically get from a lot of Jackie O's barrel-aged beers. They tend to have this kind of elegance and grace to them, with even less age than they should have. By that I mean, you get a lot of these barrel-aged beers and they come off hot. Well, no shit, Sherlock. It's only a year old and it came out last year. It's going to be hot. Jackie O's beers have always come off a bit softer, a bit rounded. They do a lot more barrel aging, or should I say, extended barrel aging in a lot of barrel aging programs. Probably one of the reasons why their beers are so good, especially from the barrel aging portion of the show. But they end up pulling some extra little hooju out of it to where it ends up coming off a little bit more rounded, a little bit more aged. Is that even a word? This one, a little bit fresh, a little bit hot. I mean, it says 2018 edition. I don't know when this came out. This kind of came out on December 31st. Today is January 17th. It could have been just a gigantic, huge, beer to begin with, and I'm drinking it way too fast. But it just lacks a little bit of nuance, a little bit of je ne sais quoi, or something that just takes it to that next level that I typically get from Jackie O's barrel-aged beers. And all that being said, it's still a fantastic barrel-aged beer. It's better than most. But I have this kind of higher standard. I should judge all beers equally, but I have a little bit of higher standard for Jackie O's. And while this is nice and tasty, and I dig it, and it's showing all the components in it in a way it should, and the beer is still existent, it's a little bit hot and a little bit not super cohesive to the point where, your awesomeness in the past has kind of done you a little dirty in the future, Jackie O's. But again, what am I saying? It's fucking a tasty-ass beer. It's not bonkers level, which is my typical experience with a lot of Jackie O's beers. So that's just me. So yeah, what else do I have to... Carbonation, I haven't talked about it. Not really all that much there. We kind of knew that from the get, but it doesn't detract all that much from the beer. Mouth feels nice. It has a little fizziness going down, actually, but it's not thick, but it's not thin. And it's all about the barrel, all about the adjuncts, all about the beer in here. They show well. It's a little bit individual and a little bit hot. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better barrel-aged beers that I've had as of late. Just on the edge. I don't want to leave it out. It's because it is that tasty, but it's definitely... There's a bunch of Jackie O's I would put in front of this, so I can't put it in there. But it's not out either. Right on the edge. I can put stuff wherever I want it. And, yeah, tasty, fun. I would love to see this with a couple years on it. Don't think it would be a long haul ager because of all the adjuncts and whatnot, but yeah. Value and availability, no idea, but their barrel aged stuff is in these $3.75 bottles. Aren't they usually like $9, $18? So it's kind of market value. And leave you with, if you like what, will you like this? If you like big, bold, well-made barrel-aged beer, if you like barrel-aged beers in that rounded edges thing is not your bag, and you like a little bit of kind of sharpness to your flavors, this is going to do you really well. I can see a lot of people enjoying this. It's just that if you're into barrel-aged beers and older beers and you like a little bit of sanded edges on everything, this might be a little bit too sharp for you. But it'd be cool to see it after a year or so. It might ran that into something pretty damn freaking amazing. So there you go. Another review in the books. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully enjoying a nice little barrel-aged jammer right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.